Here we are again, Nelson.
Many years later, here we are again at the Nantucket, actually I like to call it a waste park, because what's going on at this facility is so dramatically different than just a dump or a landfill, as was the case when I first came out here, that it really needs to be explored, as we're going to do. When I first came out to Nantucket, to the landfill in the late 1980s, this was a 44-acre landfill dump. Dump's the right word, because a lot of it was in wetlands. There was 250,000 tires that had to be moved out of here. There was a large cache of U.S. Army military munitions, bombs, that had to be addressed by the bomb squad. I don't know if you remember that. There was a couple explosions where they detonated the munitions that had been illegally dumped here to get rid of them. And this landfill is now 21 acres and shrinking. And when we drive up to the top here, we can see the various aspects of what's going on here now, which results in the highest recovery and recycling rate in the world. 85% of materials that would have been landfilled, would have been dumped in the ground if this facility wasn't here, are being recovered. And that includes the recyclables, it includes the organic materials, food waste, yard waste, it includes wood, metal, refrigerators, furniture. We're even mining this landfill and recovering 70% of what's in this hill, in this landfill, to be reused. It's certainly very topical now for people to be talking about going green and becoming environmental, when the town of Nantucket started almost 20 years ago, resulting now in that 85% recycling rate.
Now, who is this guy?
This is Paul Mancini, and Paul is the site manager. He's the guy that makes it happen on a day-to-day basis and makes things work around here.
Okay, how long have you been working here, Paul?
Well, I started here back in '99. Basically, I helped reclaim this landfill, put it into closure. I believe I left in '01, and I've been back since December.
Since December?
Since December.
Where did you leave to go to?
Back to Rhode Island, and then I ended up in New Jersey doing a project with Nelson, compost facility. Mm-hmm. And here I am back on Nantucket. Wonderful thing.
What's the focus? What's your focus now? Primarily.
My focus right now is to reclaim 100,000 yards of a structural fill on this site, to bring all my grades up to grade, to make a active compost pad, which is going to be a 7-acre pad.
When you say your grades, what do you mean by your grades?
Well, everything is so low on this site. We need to build it up. Get the right water drainage.
I see.
Get everything pitched the way it needs to be pitched, and that requires a lot of structural fill. And this is where we're getting the structural fill from. Mining this landfill, we're reclaiming 70% of the material out of this landfill to use as structural fill on site. We have many goals here. Get this facility up to, back up to full grade, working order, and we're accomplishing that every day. We have a lot of moving parts on site, the digester, a lot of balers, making this place into a active compost facility. Okay.
land does the landfill kind of encompass here?
Well, now the landfill encompasses approximately 21 acres, and down here at the foot of the surface here we see we're digging, so we're making it smaller every day by digging this landfill, recovering a lot of the structural fill that Paul was discussing. The only thing that will now go back in to the landfill is inert materials, mostly plastic, that will go back in the landfill, but it will be 30% of the volume of what's in here now. So that when we're finished this process, this is a several years process, but when it's done, there'll only be 30% of the size here. So this mountain, if you will be reduced. But it was already reduced from a 44-acre landfill to a 21-acre landfill. Initially some years ago. And the first facility the first step in converting this to a waste park was the material recovery facility, which is right here in front of us, which has both access for citizens to drive in as they do and drop their materials off in the appropriate containers. So then those materials can be properly sorted, baled, and recycled to the benefit of the town. Then the next big project, or next step, was the inclusion of this in-vessel composting facility.
Now that was down for a long time, is that correct?
Well, one aspect of it was down. The digester, the rotary drum that you see rotating there, is a pretty complex piece of equipment, which is the heart of the system. And it needed some renovation because it had been operating for some time, but it's working like a charm now. And every day, the organic materials, food waste, yard waste, things of that nature, are being converted into compost here.
Is that what's being done? Is that it's only food waste and yard waste?
Well, no, the sewage sludge, yard waste, soiled paper, cardboard, things of that nature that are compostable, that otherwise in a landfill create methane gas and greenhouse gas, that's what methane is, are being pulled out and converted into compost, and compost is 50% carbon. So you're sequestering carbon in the form of compost here, which is then used on the island by landscapers, by homeowners. We give away program for free compost and soil. And what that represents in reduction in greenhouse gas is, since the composting plant started, it's probably the equivalent of 10,000 vehicles being taken off the road with the emissions because of the carbon sequestration that we're doing by converting into compost.
Nelson, that is the giveaway?
That's part of the giveaway, yeah. Anyone on the island that wants free compost or free topsoil, and topsoil is a combination of compost and sand that makes a really good topsoil, or compost, which is more of a potting soil type material, it's free for the taking. Come on down and get some.
You don't know exactly what's in that, though. You can't tell for sure what people have actually thrown into their garbage. They may say that it's food waste and things like that, but there could be some chemicals in there that somehow get into the composter and then they're back in the soil.
No, that's not true at all, because what we do, we're under a very strict regime of testing the materials, not only for its nutrient value, but also the constituents. There's something like, I don't know, 400 or 500 chemical compounds, heavy metals that we test for on a regular basis. Now this material is, I'd say, clean as a whistle. It's all organic material, and there are nothing in there that is a problem.